Hello, welcome to LLG's Random But Real podcast, where you'll hear conversations about any and all things random with an entree, not a side dish, of mental health advocacy. I use my performance, communication, and literary art skills to bring awareness about mental health and other topics. Therefore, whether I'm singing, speaking, or writing, it is my desire that my words will be melodic, just like music to your ears. Welcome to LLG. That's me, Lisa L. Gilliam's Random But Real podcast. Hello, everybody. How are you doing? And welcome to this edition of LLG Random But Real. Always happy, excited to be able to have a conversation with you. And as you know, we definitely keep this random but real. So although sometimes we might have a topic in mind, you know, we really don't know what might actually be said. So if you hear a little bit of noise in the background, it's because I have a guest this time. And so what we might have to do, I'm trying this out. This is my first time actually having someone call in. And so I guess maybe when one of us is not speaking, we'll have to mute so that we don't hear the background noise. Because I want you all to get all of the information that we are sharing. As I mentioned, I'm Lisa, One Singing Lady Gilliam, and this is my podcast. Today I have a guest. Her name is Sheritha Bowman. She is a lot of things. She's a business owner, entrepreneur, she's a writer. And so we're going to talk, of course, whenever I have a guest, I make sure that they're able to share what it is that they do. But we also going to get into some other topics because remember, the focus of my podcast is always about mental health. And so that's the entree, honestly. But we talk about a little bit of other things. And so a lot of times people talk about mental health, they use it as the side piece or, the dish on the side. Nah, it's important. Mental wellness is important. And I think that the pandemic has shown us how important it is to take care of ourselves and our mental wellness. So, with that being said, I'm introducing Sheritha. Sheritha, tell us about yourself.
Hey! First of all, Lisa, thanks for having me, my dear. Thank you for having me. I feel honored.
My pleasure.
Yes, girl. I really do. Tell you about me,
Yes.
honey.
Something that I did not say or something that I did say. We can start off talking about covered if you want to.
Ah, who am I? I am redefining me every moment. Every moment. And I guess as your listeners don't know, and it's at the top of my brain, so I feel like I just want to dig right in.
Okay.
Having lost my son October the 21st after battling complications from COVID, and burying him on November 1st, still trying to find myself. It's a prep.
Understood. Again, sorry for your loss.
Thank you. And thank you again for reaching out to me when I had posted up on social media. You were one of the ones who posted up and reached out and asked if I, needed to talk. And I did. And I thank you for that, girl. I thank you for that. You are a blessing. You don't even know how much of a blessing you are to folk.
I appreciate that. Thank
You
you.
really are. You really are. But yeah, ever since then, I've been really floating. I've been floating, girl. I've been floating. So you asked me, who am I? And we were talking earlier, and I'm like, who am I now?
Right.
Girl. And that's some serious stuff. I mean, yeah, I got my cover body care business and I'm a writer and all of that, but I'm at a place now where I'm really redefining who I am. And, yeah, I'm always seeking God's face as to what he wants me to do. But I really am digging my heels in now and saying, God, okay, for real, what
Right.
do you
Right.
want me to do? What do you
Right.
want me to
Yeah. I told you, I shared with you and anybody that's ever watched even my YouTube live shows. If you haven't, go to youtube.com slash one singing lady spelled out ONESINGINGLADY. Shameless plug, I guess. But we talk about grief a lot on the show because a lot of people don't know about the connection with that and mental health or mental wellness or mental illness. Because if we don't get it out, it does sometimes end up being a negative reaction to it. But I talk about griefshare.org, which I did share with you, and I've shared with everybody. I was sharing before the show. I literally had three friends, one from junior high, one from high school, and one from college, whose mom died since last week. And so I literally don't think it's been 9 days. And it
Mm,
in a sense it kind of triggers me from when I experienced that with my mom. She was so important to me. I just I may not know exactly how you feel, but I know what it's like to lose someone
mhm,
that you love. And in Grief Share, it talks about finding your new normal.
hmm,
And it sounds like that's what you're trying to do right now, find your new
mhm,
normal. And I'm here to tell you it's been 4 years since my mom died. I still have not found it. That doesn't mean that
mm,
everybody's thing is gonna be as long as mine. I think I learned so many important messages with that. And I have to shout out Dr. John Nielsen, who was actually on the show that I share with you, because he often posts things in our
Jesus.
YouTube, our Facebook group, that is, and or one of his Facebook groups. And he was talking about how, and I'm paraphrasing, the more you love, maybe that's almost like why you hurt so much, because if you really had deep love for this individual, then the hurt is, in a sense, going to match it. Now, I'm not saying it as with as much finesse as he did, but it made a lot of sense to me. And I really, really love my mom, just like I'm sure you really, really loved your son. And so it takes some time to find
Yeah,
out, okay, well, how do I do this when I
yeah.
want to call and I can't call anymore? Or I want to stop by
Mhm.
and see them, or I want to tell them to come here and I can't. So finding your new normal. How has that been for you?
That is the truth. You just hit something, and that YouTube that you have available with what's his name? I'm sorry, the gentleman,
Dr. John Nielsen.
Dr. Nielsen. Oh my God, that was a life changer for me to listen to that. That blessed my soul. So yeah, listeners, please do tap into that YouTube. But for me, I'm a person of routine and rhythm.
Mm,
So, and I haven't had to grieve like this since I want to say 19, I don't know, 90, when my grandmother passed away. That's the last real loss I've experienced. So all of
mm,
this time I've really not lost anyone real close to me. So being a person of routine and rhythm, these tears, they come when they want. Triggers
mhm.
from out of anywhere.
Yeah.
So and it feels like I just lose my rhythm, and it's like I have to keep regrouping and restarting and regrouping and restarting. And I think I'm not gonna I'm pat myself on the back and say, yeah, I think I'm doing pretty good. I think I'm doing pretty good, but
Mhm,
I'm not used to just collapsing any old time.
mhm.
I
That sounds
collapse,
like me. That sounds
girl.
like what I do. Yeah. Because it's like you're not really in control of your emotions. You never
Woo!
knew. Can I tell you one of the things that really struck me? This was, I think, the year or it was either a year or 2 years after my mom died.
Mhm,
I never realized how many Christmas movies involved a mother who died.
mm.
And I had seen the movies before, but after her death, it was like, this is just ridiculous. Does
Right.
everybody die at Christmas? Does everybody die? You know what I mean? Because I also mentioned, I found my grandmother 3 days before Christmas,
Yeah.
which is why my mom's death was so traumatic for me, because I walked in on her unconscious. And so it just, you're right. I get it. Everything,
Mhm.
things you used to do together, places you used to go, because he did DJ. Is that correct?
Yes, honey. Yes, and I have actually created a page. But go on. Yeah,
No, you
he
can
was a
talk about
DJ.
that.
Yeah, I did that. I had to do that for me. I created a page on Instagram.
Okay.
Him and other DJs and musicians all over, words that he may have said before, or just words that I think of, and I'll just attach his picture to it.
What's
But
the
yeah,
name of the page?
it's girl,
That's okay. Just in case
DJ.
y'all didn't know. No, really. Forgetfulness is a part also. Sometimes it
Ah,
happens with grief. Even with me, like I forget a lot of things still, and I did after that, so I had to write everything down. So it's okay. Take
it's
your
actually
time.
DJK Bontello. DJK at DJK Bontello.
Okay, so you all go
Yeah.
check out at DJ K Montello and support. You know,
Mm-hmm.
so that would be, good to do that, and you may get some inspiration while you're there as well, as
Yes,
well.
Lord.
So
Yes.
is it anything, because we have talked about this, and I understand that it's a touchy subject for some, and sometimes people don't want to deal, and sometimes
Mm-hmm.
they're fine with it. So I want you to lead the conversation of what area, what's important, that you want the listeners to hear regarding, grief, or just taking the time. I say be gentle with yourself. Take the
Mm-hmm.
time to actually, go through the grieving process, because a lot of people mask it. But just so you
Right.
know, if you didn't
Right.
know, they're like, nope, I'm staying busy. I'm staying. I honestly believe, as a former counselor, also, staying busy is not necessarily the best way. If you're staying busy and you're still grieving, that's different. But if you're staying busy and you're running, that's a whole total, and it's going to come out because we're human
Mm-hmm.
people. So, what do you think is something, an important thing, lesson, or step that you want
Yeah.
someone to take if they're in a similar situation?
Yeah. I'm learning as I'm going through this that it's okay to to cry and let it out when it comes. Now, of course, I've been at the supermarket and yeah, it's happened there too. And I'd have to like kind of rush through the aisle and go find a little space and get myself together. But I can be washing dishes feeling good. I could be listening to jazz, washing dishes, and my door is straight ahead where I can look while I wash the dishes. I can see my window of my door, and there are
Mhm.
times I can look through that blind, and I remember Kevin used to always just press his face up against the window when he hadn't seen me in a long time, and I look at him and he'd have that little sad puppy dog face, like I'm here, I'm coming to see you, mom. And honey, sometimes I have to go to that daggone door and pull the blind down because it hurts so much. The trigger is so it is so bad for me. But
Mhm.
I cry and I get it out. And I'm learning that if I go ahead and yield, surrender to my cry, I feel
Mhm.
better afterwards instead of trying to
Absolutely.
stifle it. Because early on I tried to stifle it. I felt like shoot, like somehow if I start crying I ain't gonna never stop. I'm just gonna cry forever and ever, all my eyeballs gonna fall out. But it's no, Sheritha, go ahead, cry, go ahead, get it out. If
Absolutely.
you're feeling it, just cry, let it out. And that's what I'm learning. If it hits, if the trigger comes, even if the record comes on in the car and I'm driving, I used to turn because it put me in this place. It's like no, let it play, let the tears flow.
Absolutely.
If you're gonna cry,
Absolutely.
cry. Go ahead and do it. So that's what I've learned so far, Lisa, that it's okay to surrender to the grief and the tears and just let it flow because it's part of the healing process.
It sure is. And I believe that God created our tear ducts for a reason. He
Mm,
talks a lot about tears and, just in crying and wiping our tears away. No, I don't believe that it's God's desire for us to be sad, but death is a part of life, now, after sin, Adam and Eve, thanks or no thanks. You know what
yeah.
I mean? Because, initially that wasn't, what the plan was. If they did right, who knows? But think about how long people lived in the biblical days, and that's not
Hmm.
the case right now. I've had several friends, I was thinking about that, who are in their 50s who have died, heart attacks and strokes. And I'm like, you gotta get together, which I know is something important to you. Um,
Hmm.
boosting up your immune system,
Girl.
etc. Veg, you want to talk about that? We can, we're integrated. We can come back and also talk about your son too. But if it's random but real, she ripped me a new one, y'all. It was in love. But I love my veggies, but I probably don't love them as much as Sheritha. So
No, I don't think nobody do, but it was as a result of health health situation I have. I manage hypertension, and I
Mhm.
do not want to be on blood pressure medication, Lisa. I do
Yeah.
not want to, and I was on it once for a couple months, and I was not feeling myself. I felt dizzy. I felt spacey, and I didn't like the way I was feeling. And I'm like, okay, so how can I live without these pills and keep my pressure down? And I found that by changing my diet, and I had to really go strict. It ain't easy. I had to go strict in order to manage my blood pressure without medication. So it's all, plant based. Eliminate all of the meat. Seafood. I might do fish like every couple months, if that, and no, no dairy, just yeah, like that, like that. And I've been able to keep my pressure in check. I've been able to keep
That
it in
is
check.
great.
But so that's what took me to it has health benefits.
It does.
Come
And
on
that's not
now.
why I take medication, because I'm not doing that. And I'm being honest. Like, I would love to. I love to eat my veggies, but I also love my meat. And
Mm-hmm.
I don't necessarily do it as much, but yeah, I feel like if I don't have like some type of meat,
Mm-hmm.
or seafood, then something is missing. It's not. I thought
Right.
about. So I watched. I don't mind mentioning it. What the Health, years ago,
Yeah.
and it was enough to like mess me up. Like, I was like, this is not cool. And I remember when I was younger and I didn't like hot dogs. Like, I didn't eat them. Even the smell of them. I don't know what changed. Maybe not
Mm-hmm.
having funds, like finances, because hot dogs are not expensive, and so when you don't have other things to eat, sometimes it'll make you do some things that all of a sudden I was eating them again. I don't think I've ever stopped. I don't eat them as much,
Mm-hmm.
but and then schedule sometimes that also does it. But I mean, you're right. If you come home and you just have a salad, it was not really that big of a deal. But I'm the type of person who I don't even want to cut up the lettuce. Okay. I want the lettuce to already be cut up, but I also don't want to spend the extra money it takes to buy the bag than it does to buy the head of lettuce. So yeah, it's
Mm-hmm.
it's a mental thing. And I'm really glad that you were able to overcome that. I'm making small steps, and
Yeah. And I need
but
y'all to get rid of those myths too about plant-based eating. It's not expensive. It's not expensive. Actually, it's cheaper now if y'all know about what's going on in the meat market right now.
mm,
And then you got recipes galore that taste just as good as your little meat. You can make mushrooms taste like meat. It's all about the seasoning. But yeah, baby
I think
step,
it's great.
baby
I
steps.
don't have any problem with anybody who decides to go that route. I just know right now it's not gonna be me. Like, I literally
Mhm.
tried to give up pizza, and I was like, "What is pizza without pepperoni?" I have tried. I went with one of my friends to the what is the vegan fest that they had in Baltimore.
Mm.
That was a
Oh
few years
yeah.
ago. And so I will try different things, but there's a lot. I like tofu, no thank you. I used to do soy milk, and then soy is expensive. And a lot of people say it's not, but Sheritha, when I say I didn't have, like, I really didn't have. I
Right.
17 to 25,000 dollars is what I was making annually, and this is after a master's degree. So paying bills and then buying food,
Yeah.
wasn't buying food wasn't even an option. If it wasn't for my family, my mom and my aunt at the time, my mom was still
Mhm.
living, I wouldn't have even eaten. That's how bad it was. So
Right.
people say it's not bad, but yeah, of course we know healthier is still more expensive than not healthy, but that doesn't necessarily mean meat versus veggies. But I'm not anti it. I love it. I want somebody else to cook it for me, but and I can cook,
Yeah.
y'all. I can, but I don't like to, and so because I don't like
Mm.
to, that's not fun for me.
But you
No,
cooking anyway. You cooking
no,
anyway.
sometimes I don't. Like, this last week, I was horrible. My diet was horrible. I would say
Ah.
the last 2 weeks, and I have been blessed that my aunt is still. We're
Ah.
still in the same house together, and so a lot of times she'll do most of the cooking. My schedule, when I was a counselor, for real, we worked. Sometimes that's when I first started. It was like you would get off of work 8 or 9 o'clock. You had a late
Mhm.
shift, because you had to see clients after they got off of work.
Mhm.
And so I would get home so late. The last thing I want to do is cook. And then when I started working in as a third party employee in the school system, there was never enough time to see the clients and do all the paperwork. So I would end up staying late almost every day just to catch up on the paperwork that I couldn't do while I was there. And that kind of continued. It's a little different in the system that I'm in now, but I have had to work late just to catch up on things that I couldn't get done. So by the time I get home, 6, 7, 8, I don't want to do anything. And then last year I was taking classes on top of that after work. So I
Mm.
get it. I don't know
You
how y'all super women do it, how you
ain't
go to
nobody no
work
superwoman. Don't have nothing to do with no
with
superwoman.
You go to work and you come home and you cook dinner for your family, and then you take the kids to like all their practices. I started thinking, I was like, how did my parents do this? Like, you really
Girl.
do need two people to juggle all the stuff that life can bring, especially when you have children. So God bless you, parents, all of y'all
But
out there, single or
but,
married.
but you know what would be a game changer for you, Lisa? Food preparation at the top of the week, baby, like on a Sunday. Just prep your foods.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Ask me how I feel about that, Sheritha. Go ahead. It's not that
You
I
are,
don't have
oh,
the knowledge, but I don't like it. I don't. That is not
yeah.
fun for me. You know how I really want to be. I don't know if you ever
Mm.
watched that Julia Child's movie. How in New York they go to the store that
Uh-huh.
same day, they get their food fresh, and then they cook it. That's what I would probably do better that way. But I'm
Yeah,
not going to the store every day. I mean, the
yeah,
market was right there,
yeah.
downstairs from her apartment,
Uh-huh.
which made it a lot easier. But yeah, no, you got to make me even want to go to the store. I knew a storm was coming. I went to the store 2 or 3 days ago, and I ain't going back until after. And I'm praying to God send somebody to go ahead and shovel that snow for me that's coming.
You ain't trying to do nothing. You ain't trying to do nothing.
No,
But
I mean,
you mentioned,
just for the
go ahead.
listeners, this is pre-recorded. You also, it may not be snowing by the time I actually post this, but y'all get my drift. Yes, what we saying, ma'am?
You mentioned you had watched What the Health some years ago. They have a new one out.
Oh
Not
goodness.
they, but there is a new one out called "They're Trying to Kill Us" by this
Mm,
gentleman. I forget his name, but his Badass Vegan. I'm sorry, I have to cuss, but that's his Instagram at Badass Vegan,
okay.
and he has a documentary called Video. It's for free. I'm telling you, whoever's listening, if you on the verge and you thinking about becoming plant-based, I think this documentary will take you all the way. There are a lot of heavy hitters in the documentary. I have showed this documentary to my family members and some friends, and I have won over about 7 people right now. They after seeing it, they instantly went plant-based. Not
Mm.
saying you're gonna do this, but I'm just telling you. I'm telling you. I'm just telling you, girl. They just instantly. So they're trying to kill us, and it's a good look. It's a good watch. So just watch it. That's all I'm
How long
asking.
is that, Sharita? How long? How long do I
How
have
long
to
is it?
subject myself? Yes.
Uh-huh. It's about an hour and I want to say 50 minutes, but it moves fast.
Okay.
Yeah, it moves fast. You don't feel tortured like, oh Lord, when is this gonna be over? It's very interesting. And in it, this dude covers every possible comeback you would have. How am I gonna get my protein? It's expensive, or all that stuff. It's all tackled. So I'm just putting that out there. That's my duty for the day.
No, that's fine. I like told y'all she loves it, so I'm not mad at all. This I said is random but real. That was not in the plan of our randomness today. But no, I love being able to, it's about because that also I do know that does also affect our mental health too. Being
Hmm.
overweight and having to be on medications, and honestly, I'm in both categories, and so you would think that would be enough, but I'm gonna be honest, and I think we've talked about this part of
Hmm.
the trauma that I experienced there. I'm not gonna say the other option, Sharitha, just so you know, but
Hmm.
emotional eating is one of the things that I end up doing when even though I know it's wrong. I feel like Paul, those things that I shouldn't do, I do. Um, or something else, which is to me a far worse option, being
Hmm.
Christian and not married. Y'all can figure that out. And so, or not married yet. And so I end up
Amen.
emotionally eating, and veggies is not necessarily the thing I want, but I will emotionally eat on veggies too. If I had I love a good salad. I love a good salad. Like we were talking about black olives the other day. I
Okay.
love those things. I'll eat a thing of black olives by myself, and I want black olives on my pizza. I want black olives in my salad.
Yes.
I love black olives, and so, but I don't make anything with. I mean, I will put them on my salad if I have some here, and I've been buying them again a lot lately. But um, if I want another salad, then I'll have multiple ones of them. Now, yes, that's better than having 3 cupcakes. But there are
Mhm.
days where I'm saying I may not have 3, but I might have 2. You know what I'm
Well,
saying?
Lisa, there is vegan cheese and there are vegan cupcakes. Just to let you
I
know.
know, but
So
I think I've tried both. It's just not the same. It really isn't. But
it's
I'm
not the
happy for
same.
you. I'm very
I
happy for
know,
you.
baby. I know it. I
If
know.
it's not real, like I told you, I don't like tofu. I don't
I'm
like
not a fan either.
I don't like I've had veggie burgers. I can deal with them, but I
Hmm.
really don't want anything that's actually not the real thing. Although I know hot dogs are not the real thing, they're comprised of other things.
Okay.
And so I told you it's a mental thing. It's the way that we think about that. But we're gonna change
Right.
subjects unless there's something else that you really want to say
Well,
before
let
we
me
go.
say this. Let me say this. It hasn't always been easy. Girl, please. I have struggled. I'm a struggle plant. I was a struggling plant based eater. I would always go back and forth, dipping, dabbing. But when I found that it was affecting my hypertension, and every time I dipped and dabbed, it would shoot it up. And then my doctor would say, "Now, look, this is high. You're gonna have to do something." Then it put made me see it from a whole different perspective. It's like, no, this is not a game. It's not a game.
Yeah,
So, like I said, everybody has a why usually for why they choose to go plant based. It's always a why. Mine was my health.
I think that's
But
awesome.
yeah, man, and it wasn't easy at all. But I can finally say I'm disciplined now, and I'm ready. I'm up in there now, girl. So
How long has it been?
uh dipping and dabbing for about 5 years, but the past 2 years straight plant based.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
guess how may I ask, and of course, and on this show, whatever you want to answer or not answer, you're welcome to do so. How did your family react to the change? Because some people, that's another thing. I'm not double dutying. So if I'm vegan,
Honey.
it's all gonna be, or you cooking your own stuff. You can cook your own
See,
stuff, that's fine. Or I'm gonna cook these vegetables, but you
yeah,
gonna go ahead and take care of your own stuff. If you gonna eat meat, then you gonna have to do your own meat. But nah, I'm not
yeah,
probably not gonna do it all. I might be
honey.
messing myself up for my future husband, but
That's what I'm about to say. Because I've been the double duty and queen over in this
oh
camp.
no
I
no
had
no
been for a while. I was and mad about it. Mad about it. Because I was
no
making two meals all
mm-mm,
the time. Something for me and something for him.
mm-mm.
And it took him going to the doctor and getting a report and having to
Mhm.
take medication and then watching the documentary. And now he's plant based. So now I'm
Okay.
making one meal,
Oh
y'all.
well, then that's good. Victory.
Yeah,
Because that's what
victory,
it's gonna
girl.
be. It's gonna be a family decision. We all gonna be healthy, but or you gonna. And I say this, I have been blessed. Most of the guys that I've dated recently are cookers themselves, or the ones that I've really been into. So I didn't have to cook, like because I don't enjoy. I'm upfront about that. Like if you, I'm not gonna be the housewife type. That's not me. Like
Mhm,
I'm going out here doing my thing. Be it singing, writing, speaking, you can just probably wait because most of the time those engagements are after my regular job. So
mhm.
if you waiting for a meal, you might be waiting till the next day. So you
Yeah.
might want to know how to cook yourself. But I can cook, and if I had to do it in advance, like I might do that type of thing. There's always leftovers or whatever, but yeah, just the joy of it. Mm-mm. No,
Mhm.
and I see I have tons of recipe books, and I've made stuff from scratch. And I've had people over, I've socialized and made and cooked for them
Mhm.
before. But yeah, it's just not fun for me.
Yeah, that's the key. You gotta want to do it. Until you
Yeah,
want to do it, it ain't happening. And I can talk a hole in your head. At least you gotta want to do it. So, and everybody else
absolutely.
who's listening,
Absolutely. Well,
yeah.
that was definitely random, but but real. So I appreciate that. I appreciate that. So one of the things that we were talking about, like things happen, and I know you. I appreciate you listening to my show last time I posted. We were talking about emergencies, take place or plans change, and but how do you handle it? And I appreciate, you pushing past how you were
Mhm,
feeling even today because life
mhm,
happened, for all of us. And there are days I did want to say where sometimes I'm like, if it's happening to me right then, I may not have the capacity to move forward. But I try to continue, I try to be a woman of my word. If I say I'm going to do something, if I say I'm going to call you, I'm going to call. If I
amen.
can't call, then I'm going to call you or text you right then and be like, hey, can't call right now but I was thinking about you, blah blah blah, because people weren't there for me. Um, uh, the people I thought I should say, not everybody. There were some
Mhm,
people that were there for me in my deepest, darkest moments, and I'm not just talking about, my mom's death, but just in life, dealing with mental health, issues, having PTSD is serious. But because I'm not a war hero, people just think, they just think I'm off my rocker or something. They don't understand that it's no different than whether you served in the war or whether it's because of death. Trauma is trauma, and I've been through a lot of traumatic experiences. How do you feel like covered um, helps? Because I'm also a DoTerra essential oil distributor or whatever. So I don't know if I ever told you I've been a rep.
You
And
didn't. I
so,
don't know.
I love my essential oils. How do you feel, or how did you start covered? Like what, you know, tell the people about it just a little bit. And how do you feel like
Hmm.
your business helps in that? Because essential oils do have some healing properties. So.
Hmm. Covered is a COVID baby. It was born out of the time we were behind bars in 2020 when we couldn't go outside. Sitting in here just mixing stuff, making my own potions.
Hmm.
And I had a group of girls that I was in this chat with, and I told them what I was doing, and I sent them all samples, and they were loving on them. Some body butter, and they were like, "Wow, I love the fragrance, and I love the scent, I love the way it makes my skin feel, or whatever." And I was like, "You know what, guys? I'm thinking about taking this to another level." So it pretty
Mm.
much came out of just being in the house all of 2020, and finding out that, having eczema and having sensitive skin too. I'm like, and I started doing research, and I found that there were things like butters, shea butters, and almond oils, and aloe vera, and things like that you can mix together for
Mhm.
your sensitive skin.
Okay.
So yeah, that's how that was born out.
Well,
Um, Go ahead.
no, I said that's awesome.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Um, and you asked me as far as the healing properties of the oils.
Yes.
Yeah, so the lavender, we know that that's a healing property as far as a calming effect that you can have on your body. So um, all of the oils that I use, the lavenders and the chamomiles, and uh, I can't even think of some of the oils right now, girl. I'm just having a brain freeze. But
Well,
a
one
lot
of
of the
them is
oils.
the one I ordered. I just ordered some
Which one
coconut
did I send you?
lime.
Oh yeah, the
I
coconut
love
lime.
coconut lime. I love the smell of that. I have a coconut lime candle. I've used like all these. I love coconut lime together. I use lime oil because doTERRA's it's not like just what you buy in the regular store. It's actually edible. So I put it in my not salsa, my guacamole. I put it in
Hmm.
my limeade. If I make that, I love me some lime oil. But anyway, continue, please.
No, no, you're right. You're right. I sent you that. What was the coconut lime? So it has the coconut oil in it as well. Not
Absolutely.
everybody is good with the coconut oil, but I have different versions: the coconut oil, and then I have it without, and just the shea butter and the lip butter and the mango butter. But yeah, I found that those oils and the butters are really good for my skin, and I have really sensitive skin, so it's been very helpful for me. So I'm like, well, if it's working for me, I'm pretty sure it could
Work
help
for
out
other
other people
people.
as well.
Yeah.
Um, and I want to say something because I've been doing this for maybe about going into my, and I tell you, there's some days where I just want to fold up business, not because I'm not getting orders, because I get word of
Mm-hmm.
everything, but again, that grieving thing comes.
Mm-hmm.
Am I even supposed to be doing this? Am I even supposed to be doing this? Because
Yeah.
it's something that makes me happy. It makes me feel good. But then I have this guilt feeling. And I don't know if that's something that's common, Lisa, where you actually feel guilty because you're happy.
Mm-hmm. I mean, there are
Yeah.
people that experience that, yes,
Mm-hmm.
and I mean, or even guilty because you're alive and
Mm.
the other person isn't. Some people take it to that extreme. But what I teach people, even when I was a counselor, is that I do believe that God is the one who created all of us, and that if I'm still alive, there's still purpose. It's
Amen.
something
Amen.
that I'm supposed to be doing, and if he's the author and the finisher. or Jesus being author and finisher of my faith, and just also knowing when I was going to be born and when I wasn't, then if I was supposed to be gone, I would have. Because Lord knows some of the stuff I've done in my life, I should have been deceased, and I'm not even
Come
lying.
on now.
Like,
Come on.
and so now I'm not saying that it's okay, for the
Mm-hmm.
manner in which certain people do end up leaving this earth, but I believe that I really do believe purpose is done. I think
Yes.
that God already knew before the foundation of the world were made, or formed, that things were going to happen the way they were going to happen. Even when I've done stuff wrong, He already knew it because he's all knowing. And
Come
so
on.
I don't feel guilty for being alive, but I have to fight sometimes for being mad that God allowed people in the same or similar
Mm-hmm.
situation as those that I love to overcome and still be
Mm-hmm.
here, and the people that I love are they're no
Yeah.
longer here. So that's, if I
Amen.
have to fight anything, that's where my fight comes. But
Yeah.
I think that if I'm here and you're here, then regardless of what's happening anywhere else in the world, there's still something Sheritha's supposed to be doing. It's still something that Lisa's supposed to be doing. And if we focus on that, still helping other people, giving back, and that doesn't necessarily mean financial or tangible things. It could be time. You know what I mean?
That's
Like,
good.
we haven't talked. We still don't remember how we met, y'all. But
I
but
kind of do. I kind of do. I know it was you singing. You was singing your butt off somewhere many,
mm,
many moons ago. It
yeah.
had to be over 10 years ago you were singing. And
Okay.
a mutual friend introduced us, as a matter of fact.
Which one?
Um, Salita, I believe it was
Okay.
Salita.
It may
Yeah.
have been. Okay, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Salita and I used to go to church together. Hi, Salita. Um,
Yeah. So,
okay.
yeah, that's how we met
Maybe.
here.
Okay, well then that's great because I didn't remember y'all how. We were talking
Don't
about it
remember
one day and I
where,
was
but
just like,
yeah.
when was this? But anyway, we've been connected on social media, but haven't spoken in years.
Mm-mm.
And then social media, a lot of have changed the algorithm. I won't mention those pages, but they change it so like you don't see people's things. So
Mm-mm.
the fact that I saw what you post, that in and of itself may have been just God. Because He knows
Oh
I
my
will reach out to
God.
anybody who has gone through any type of loss if I know you. Like, if nothing else, um this is a pet peeve of mine. Like, I feel like social media is a farce in the sense that if I know you in real life and I have your number in real life, then I'm gonna call you or at least text you in real life or send you
Mm-hmm.
an email in real life. I'm not gonna just post something on social media like I don't know you and I don't have a real relationship with you. And I feel like this in this day and age, we text, or email or do anything, leave a voicemail so that we don't have to deal with the conflict or deal with the pain or deal with having
Mm.
a conversation that's important. I think that, I wish we could kind of go back to the days of yay and nay, like the wine said, where we we could just have conversations and be mindful and be present. Technology is kind of taking over everything. And I love technology, but I also like to be present. You know,
Mm-hmm.
and so I don't think that that happens a lot. And I think even in grief, just going back to that, you can't truly grieve if you're not present with your own feelings. And you gotta be willing, like you said, if you're feeling like crying, cry. Feel like
Yeah.
laughing, laugh. If you feel like jumping for joy, jump for joy. Just make sure the things that you're doing are positive. You're
Right.
still taking care of yourself, still going to your doctor's appointments, still scheduling even doctor's appointments. One of the things Bree talked about again was making sure that you do the things that you're supposed to do. And sometimes it's so hard to do that, like you were saying, even with your business, there are times where I'm like, I mean, I still sing, but I don't sing like I used to. And part of that is
Mm-hmm.
because my mom said it's not fun for me anymore. Eventually, maybe I'll get the joy back once I'm,
Mm.
but I'm not completely healed. So I don't have the same desire to minister in song
And,
or
and
preach and teach.
that's where I was talking about. It's not as fun for me,
Hmm.
the business, and I guess I need to explore it and take it to a level where I'm really where God wants covered body care to go. Because just doing the butters or whatever, that's all well and good. That's okay. But my heart is really about health now, but especially with the fact that he had these underlying conditions. My son Kevin had these underlying conditions, which ultimately, took him. So I feel I want to go in that direction. So, like I said at the beginning of our conversation, still trying to redefine and figure out what God wants me to do. And, butters anymore. May not just be butters and oils, but just to another level.
Mhm.
Because if anything, I want to impact lives and save lives, you know,
Mhm.
however He wants to use me, I want to be surrendered to that. I want,
You're going in and
um,
out, Sharitha. Just want to make sure.
Lord,
It's okay.
that was some good stuff I just now
No,
said
you
too.
can hear most of it. You just like you
Oh,
don't know if you want to do just body butters and oils, and you just
yeah.
want to see God as to what the next steps. Basically, that's I'm paraphrasing of what it is that
Mhm.
you should do with the company. But can I just say that maybe it's not that you don't want to do it. It could be that you're just healing in this
Mhm.
time, and that it doesn't have space in your
Mm.
healing process. It doesn't mean because I think that if we start something like I still love singing, I just don't want to sing right now. But I do sing. I still sing.
Mhm.
But it's basically when I'm in that place, and it's just because like that is something. My mom was my biggest supporter. She was always there, always, like
Right,
almost
right.
every show until she, wasn't here to be able to be at a show. And if she couldn't come, she was always like, "How was it? How did things go?" I don't get that from anybody else. Not one person. Um, on a daily, because sometimes they'll go, but the support that I had, I may not have again, maybe if I get married.
Mhm.
But that changes the dynamics of what I'm doing, not because of my mom, but it just made me want to focus on some other things. And it brought out
Mhm.
some things in me that I needed to heal from too. And so, yeah, I'm glad that you're seeking God about that and trying to find out what the next steps are. But we also told not to make drastic decisions when we're grieving. So just
Hmm.
keep that in mind as well.
Yes, Lord, yes. Mhm. I hear you.
Well,
I hear you.
we have been on here for a while. We're actually going to close out. Can you please tell the listeners where they can find your information, where they can follow you, etc.?
Mhm. You can, my website is coveredbodycare.com, and I'm on Instagram. I'm on Instagram at Covered Body Butters, and I'm also on Facebook at Covered Body Butters. So,
Yeah.
yeah, those are my platforms.
Yes, yes, yes. So
And
definitely
and
support.
please follow my page for that I've created for my son. It's
Mhm.
at DJK Bontello. DJKBONTELLO. That's DJKB as in boy ONTELLO. And it's a page I created paying homage to him and other DJs and other musicians around the world. So yes.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. She's such a lovely person, y'all. Like
No,
for
that's
real.
you, girl. That's you. I love you so much. And Lisa, let me say this about you, baby. Let me
Mm.
say this about you. Honey, I'm serious. When I posted that my son passed, and I hadn't spoken with you in years, I posted that my son passed on Facebook, and you reached out to me in the messenger and just asked how I was doing. I don't know, maybe a couple days later, a week later, whatever. I don't know the timing, but I know that meant everything to me. And you talked to me, you listened to me, and you also invited me to listen to one of your YouTubes, where you had the doctor on talking about grief, and you were on sharing your testimony, and I think a few other sisters.
Mhm. Yeah.
Baby, that was a blessing to my soul. And I just want to thank you for reaching out, because you did not have to reach out. You could have just kept scrolling. You could have, like we do, you could have kept scrolling, but you reached out, and that really blessed me. It really did, Lisa. And I even let my husband listen to it, and he was blessed by it as well. So I just want to let you know that God is pleased with you, sweetheart, because you're doing what he's calling you to do. You may not feel like it, you may not know who you're impacting, but God is using you even when you don't realize you're being used. So just know that.
Thank you so much. I'm
Know
glad that
that.
I think it's just important to move out of yourself. It doesn't, nothing that I'm going through is worse or better than what anybody else is going through. And if I've learned anything from my mom was not the first death in my life. Unfortunately, she was my last living parent. I have no parents or grandparents, and I was telling
Mm-hmm.
somebody how I felt like an orphan, and then to not be married, not have children, it's been lonely. As well, Christmas, I was on the couch by myself for the second year in a row,
Mm-hmm.
thanks to the pandemic, and it's hard sometimes being alone. So I don't want anybody to ever feel that type of loneliness when there's information or help or support. And so if I can be there for somebody, I definitely will try to do that. And it's to me, it's a different way of counseling. I don't want to be a counselor right now either.
Mm-hmm.
But still a different way of counseling in the sense of giving information. And so I appreciate you saying that. For the
Yes,
listeners,
the
if
truth.
go on.
It's the truth. It's the truth.
Thank you. I hope that you all will go ahead and look at my YouTube page. It is verified because I actually am a vocalist too, and I do go by One Singing Lady, the number one. But on YouTube, like I said, it's spelled out. Each word is spelled out, and then I can be found on Facebook and Instagram at One Singing Lady. Again, the number one. And what's that? TikTok and Twitter as well. And so I'm always posting random but real statements. I hope that you all will subscribe to this Spotify or Anchor page. It shows up on both platforms. I do have, you can find my music on Spotify and Pandora and Apple Music. And so a lot of you all have those streaming services out there. Please go ahead and like my music and add a song, to your playlist. That would be great. That also does help me as I continue to, do this. And the final thing is if you have not been to my website, www.lisagilliam.com, please go ahead and join the email list and leave a message in the guest book. If this show or anything that I've ever done has been a blessing to you, or if you come to a concert or workshop or something like that, please leave a comment because I do go to the guest page sometimes, and it encourages me when I'm like, oh, do I still want to do this? So you all help me each time you listen or make a comment. Um, and so, thank you so much, Sheritha, for being on here. I
Thank you.
appreciate it. And I just wish you and Covered much success.
Thank you.
Whatever the next steps may be, the guys got you. So
Amen. Thank you, my
you
love.
all have a
Thank you.
good one. Thank you, listeners, for being here. Hang on one second, Sheritha, and I will talk to you all the next time. This has been Lisa, One Singing Lady Gilliam, LLG Random But Real podcast. Please note any comments made on this LLG Random But Real podcast by myself, Lisa, One Singing Lady Gilliam, or my guests are our own views. They are not to be made or determine an actual professional or in lieu of an actual professional. If you relate to any of the topics, please seek professional help. Contact a therapist, a psychologist, any other mental health professional, or if it's an emergency, please call 911. Thank you so much for tuning in.